You will embark on a journey into the heart of enduring human connection, finding solace, understanding, and a profound appreciation for the multifaceted nature of love, even amidst life's inevitable sorrows. Consider how a cherished melody, heard unexpectedly, can unlock a floodgate of forgotten feelings, much like a key turning in a long unused lock. In the quiet solitude of later life, our memories become not just recollections, but living landscapes, constantly shifting yet ever present. Eleanor, at 78, found her world increasingly defined by these internal landscapes. Her days unfolded within the familiar embrace of her Victorian home, a sanctuary perched on a gentle rise, overlooking the familiar, sleepy town of Oakhaven. The house itself was a silent testament to a life richly lived, each worn floorboard, each faded wallpaper pattern, a whisper of a story. Morning light, filtered through lace curtains, would often find her in the sunroom, a cup of Earl Grey warming her hands, the scent of old roses from the garden just beginning to drift through the open window. This was her ritual, a quiet communion with the dawn, and with the echoes that resided within her. Her routine was a gentle rhythm, a melody composed over decades. After her tea, she might trace the worn binding of a poetry book, its pages softened by countless readings, remembering a shared voice, a particular inflection. Or perhaps she would tend to her garden, a riot of color and fragrance, each bloom a living memory. The act of pruning a rose bush, feeling the delicate resistance of the stem, could transport her to a summer evening decades ago, dancing under a canopy of stars with Arthur, her beloved husband, feeling utterly weightless and free. Such moments were not fleeting distractions, but integral parts of her present, woven into the very fabric of her being. Eleanor's home, much like her mind, was an archive. A mahogany desk in her study held stacks of letters tied with faded ribbons, each script a familiar hand. In the living room, a grand piano, its keys yellowed with age, stood silent, a monument to countless evenings filled with music. She rarely played now, but the sight of it, the polished wood reflecting the gentle light, was enough to conjure the sound of Arthur's deep baritone, singing along to a Chopin nocturne. It was a comfort, this constant presence of the past, a quiet strength found in solitude. The world outside her windows felt both distant and intimately connected. Her granddaughter, Clara, a vibrant young woman navigating her own bustling life in the city, would call occasionally. Their conversations were a bridge between generations, Clara's cheerful updates a counterpoint to Eleanor's more measured pace. Eleanor listened intently, offering gentle wisdom gleaned from her own experiences, a quiet anchor in Clara's sometimes turbulent waters. She understood that while Clara's world moved at a different speed, the fundamental human experiences of love, loss, and connection remained unchanged. Eleanor often mused on the nature of memory itself. It wasn't a static collection of photographs in an album, but a living, breathing entity, constantly reshaping itself, revealing new facets with each passing year. Just as a river carves its path through stone over centuries, so too does love etch its indelible marks upon our hearts, shaping who we become. These imprints, though sometimes accompanied by a subtle ache, were proof of a life fully lived, of profound connections forged and cherished. The quiet dignity of her solitude was not an emptiness, but a space filled with the rich tapestry woven by a life fully lived, preparing her for the echoes of what once was. She remembered Arthur's hands, strong and gentle, as they built the trellis in the garden, or carefully turned the pages of a shared book. The smallest details, the way he'd clear his throat before speaking, the particular scent of his pipe tobacco, were as vivid as if he were still there, just in the next room. This wasn't a morbid dwelling on the past, but rather an ongoing conversation with it. It was a testament to the enduring power of human connection, a quiet affirmation that love, in its truest form, transcends even the boundaries of life itself. Her mornings often stretched into afternoons, filled with small, deliberate tasks. Arranging a vase of freshly cut flowers, each petal a miniature work of art, or carefully mending a tear in an old linen tablecloth. These were not chores, but acts of remembrance, each stitch a connection to a simpler time, a quieter rhythm of life. She found a profound satisfaction in these quiet moments, a sense of continuity that grounded her. Sometimes, a thought would surface unbidden, a fleeting image or a forgotten phrase, and she would pause, allowing it to unfurl. These were not always joyous memories. Sometimes, a faint shadow of loss would pass over her features, a reminder of the inevitable passage of time. Yet even in these moments, there was a certain grace, an acceptance. For Eleanor, grief was not a weakness, but an enduring testament to the depth of her love. It was a quiet dignity, a profound strength found in carrying both joy and sorrow, embracing the full spectrum of human emotion. She found that as the years progressed, the sharpness of immediate grief had softened, transforming into a gentle, constant hum beneath the surface of her daily life. It was like a well-loved piece of music, familiar and comforting, even when its notes were tinged with melancholy. This quiet strength allowed her to live fully in the present, even as her past remained a cherished companion. Her connection to Arthur wasn't solely intellectual or emotional. It was deeply physical, ingrained in the very fabric of her home. The worn armchair by the fireplace, his favorite, still seemed to hold the imprint of his form. The faint scent of cedar from his old wardrobe, even years after his passing, could still evoke his presence. These were not ghosts, but rather persistent echoes, gentle reminders of a love that had once filled these rooms, and still, in a way, did. Eleanor understood that the landscape of memory was not a static museum, but a vibrant, ever-changing garden. Some flowers bloomed anew with each recollection, while others, though faded, still held their original beauty. She walked through this garden daily, sometimes lingering, sometimes moving swiftly, always with a quiet reverence for the life she had lived and the love she had known. This introspection wasn't a retreat from the world, but a way of engaging with it more deeply. By understanding her own past, she felt more connected to the universal human experience, to the quiet dignity in every life lived, every love shared, every loss endured. She knew that her story, like countless others, was a rich tapestry, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, resilience and tenderness. And in the quiet hours, she found a profound peace in the knowledge that these threads, though sometimes frayed, would never truly break. One particularly crisp autumn afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across her garden, Eleanor found herself by the old oak tree, its leaves a blaze of crimson and gold. She reached out, her fingers tracing the rough bark, a silent conversation with the decades it had witnessed. It was under this very tree so many years ago that Arthur had first told her he loved her, his voice a gentle murmur against the rustling leaves. The memory wasn't a sudden flash, but a slow, warm unfolding, like a cherished photograph developing before her eyes. She closed her eyes, and for a moment, the years melted away, and she was there again, young and hopeful, bathed in the golden light of a love just beginning. It was a moment of profound connection, a vivid re-experiencing of joy and tenderness, unmarred by time. Opening her eyes, Eleanor felt a familiar gentle ache, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. The memory was a testament, not to absence, but to enduring presence. Arthur was not gone. He was simply woven into the very fabric of her being, into the quiet hours of her home, into the rustling leaves of the old oak. Her solitude was not loneliness, but a space rich with these echoes, a quiet strength that allowed her to carry both the beauty of the past and the gentle unfolding of the present. She understood that love, in its myriad forms, does not diminish with age but rather deepens, becoming interwoven with the tapestry of memory, resilience, and a profound understanding of life's fleeting nature. As dusk settled, painting the sky in hues of lavender and rose, Eleanor walked back towards her house. The scent of old roses, now mingled with the crispness of autumn air, followed her. She paused at the threshold, looking back at the garden, at the silhouette of the old oak. The house, her sanctuary, seemed to hum with a quiet energy, a silent promise of more stories, more echoes, waiting to be explored. She knew that the path ahead, though perhaps solitary, was far from empty, filled as it was with the vibrant, living landscape of her memories, preparing her for the echoes of what once was and what might yet be. Just as a river carves its path through stone over centuries, so too does love etch its indelible marks upon our hearts, shaping who we become. Eleanor, seated by the window, a cup of cooling tea beside her, understood this truth with the quiet certainty of one who has lived it. The worn photograph in her hand, its edges softened by countless touches, was more than just an image. It was a portal, a silent invitation to a past that, though gone, remained vibrantly alive within her. Her gaze drifted from the sepia-toned faces, her younger self, radiant and unburdened beside Arthur, his smile a beacon of gentle strength, to the familiar contours of her living room. Every object, every shadow, seemed to hold a resonance, a faint echo of shared laughter and whispered confidences. It was a space steeped in memory, where the present often felt like a thin veil over the rich tapestry of what had been. She often wondered, how many of us carry these inner museums, filled with artifacts only we can truly see and feel? Arthur. The name itself was a melody, a comfort, a whisper on the wind. Their story, like many, began simply. She remembered the day they met, a crisp autumn afternoon at a local library, both reaching for the same worn copy of Wuthering Heights. His hand had brushed hers, a spark, unexpected and undeniable. He had a way of looking at her, she recalled, as if she held all the secrets of the universe, and he was content to spend an eternity unraveling them. It was a gaze that spoke of a profound recognition, an instant understanding that transcended mere words. This wasn't the fleeting infatuation of youth, but something deeper, a quiet conviction that this person, this Arthur, was meant to be a part of her journey. Their courtship unfolded with the unhurried grace of a blooming rose, each conversation a petal unfurling, each shared silence a testament to a growing intimacy. They discovered a mutual love for long walks, for the quiet contemplation of art, for the intricate dance of classical music. Arthur, a man of quiet passions, introduced her to the subtle beauty of bird-watching, teaching her to identify calls she had never noticed before, to appreciate the delicate balance of the natural world. He had a way of making the ordinary feel extraordinary, imbuing everyday moments with a sense of wonder. She remembered one particular evening, dancing under a canopy of stars at a village fete, his hand firm at her waist, her head resting against his shoulder. The world had melted away, leaving only the rhythm of their steps and the silent poetry of their connection. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, a feeling of being utterly weightless and free. These weren't just isolated incidents. They were threads, meticulously woven into the fabric of her being, shaping her understanding of love, of partnership, of life itself. Their life together wasn't without its challenges, of course. There were lean years, moments of uncertainty, and the inevitable disagreements that arise from two distinct souls navigating a shared path. Yet through it all, their bond deepened, strengthened by shared vulnerabilities and unwavering support. She recalled a particularly difficult period when Arthur faced a professional setback. The disappointment had been palpable. a heavy cloud over their home. But instead of retreating, they had drawn closer, spending evenings poring over old books, finding solace in stories of resilience, and reminding each other of their shared dreams. It was during such times that the quiet intimacy of their connection truly shone, a testament to a love that wasn't just about grand gestures, but about the steadfast presence, the unspoken understanding, the unwavering belief in one another. It was a love that had matured, like a fine wine, gaining depth and complexity with each passing year. She often thought about how different her life would have been without him, how much poorer her inner world. His influence was everywhere, in the books on her shelves, the art on her walls, even the way she approached her garden. He had instilled in her a deeper appreciation for beauty, for knowledge, for the quiet dignity of a life well lived. Even now, decades later, she found herself referencing his opinions, recalling his insights, as if he were still there, offering his gentle counsel. This wasn't merely a habit, it was a continuation of their dialogue, a testament to the enduring presence of his spirit within her. It's a peculiar phenomenon, isn't it? How the echoes of a deep love can resonate through a lifetime, long after the physical presence has faded. It's as if a part of them becomes inextricably woven into the very fabric of our being, guiding our thoughts, shaping our reactions, becoming an invisible compass in our journey. This profound connection, this shared history, was her anchor, a constant reminder of the richness of her past. She had learned, through Arthur, the profound joy of true companionship, the comfort of a hand held in silence, the quiet strength found in mutual respect. These memories weren't merely nostalgic indulgences. They were vital, living parts of her identity, influencing her choices, coloring her perceptions, and providing a quiet wellspring of strength. She sometimes wondered if younger generations, in their pursuit of instant gratification, truly understood the profound beauty of a love that had weathered decades, a love that had been tested and refined by the crucible of shared experience. It was a love built not on fleeting infatuation, but on a foundation of deep understanding, unwavering loyalty, and an enduring admiration for the person beside you. The world, she mused, could learn a great deal from the quiet dignity of such enduring affections. Her recollections were not merely a replaying of events, but a re-experiencing of emotions, a re-engagement with the essence of who they were together. The scent of old roses, wafting in from the garden, could transport her instantly to their first dance, the feel of his hand, the warmth of his smile. It was a testament to the intricate workings of memory, how sensory details can unlock entire worlds within us. She knew that even as the years accumulated, adding their own layers of experience, the core of her love for Arthur remained undimmed, a steady flame in the quiet hearth of her heart. It was a love that had taught her patience, kindness, and the profound art of truly seeing another soul. And in these quiet moments, surrounded by the tangible and intangible legacies of their life together, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. Her love for Arthur wasn't a closed chapter. It was an ongoing narrative, a vibrant, living part of her present, and would continue to be so until her very last breath. It was a testament to the enduring power of human connection, a quiet affirmation that some bonds transcend the boundaries of time and presence. The indelible marks he had etched upon her heart were not scars of loss, but rather intricate patterns of beauty, a testament to a life deeply loved and profoundly lived. These memories, these whispers of yesteryear, were not ghosts. They were companions, walking beside her, enriching her solitude, and reminding her of the boundless capacity of the human heart to love and to be loved. They were the quiet strength that allowed her to navigate the present, a gentle current beneath the surface of her daily life, guiding her with an unseen hand. And as the afternoon light softened, casting long shadows across the room, Eleanor closed her eyes, not in sorrow, but in a quiet embrace of a past that continued to illuminate her present. She felt a deep, abiding peace, a sense of wholeness that came from acknowledging the full spectrum of her emotional landscape. This profound appreciation for the indelible imprints of love, this understanding that the past, though gone, remains a vibrant part of her present self, was her quiet strength. It was a testament to the resilience of the human heart and its remarkable capacity to carry both joy and sorrow, weaving them into a tapestry of enduring beauty. And so, she lingered in this gentle swell of nostalgia, allowing the warmth of those cherished moments to wash over her, a silent blessing in the quiet hours of her life. It was a powerful reminder that love, in its truest form, is not bound by time or circumstance. It simply is, a constant, unwavering presence. She was a living testament to the idea that love, once deeply felt, never truly fades. It merely transforms, becoming a part of the very air we breathe, the very ground we walk upon. It was a beautiful, melancholic truth, one that resonated deeply within her soul. The indelible marks of love, etched upon her heart, were her most precious possessions, a legacy more valuable than any material wealth. They were the whispers of yesteryear, guiding her gently through the quiet hours, and reminding her that a life lived with love, no matter its duration, is a life truly lived. And with that thought, a gentle smile touched her lips, a silent acknowledgement of the profound beauty of her journey, past and present. She was ready, in her own time, to turn the page, knowing that the story of her heart was far from over. The echoes of Arthur's love were not a burden, but a foundation, a gentle current that would carry her forward, towards whatever lay ahead. For in the landscape of memory, love truly was eternal, and she, Eleanor, was its quiet, steadfast keeper. She was a living archive of tenderness, a testament to the enduring power of connection. And in her quiet solitude, she found a profound strength, a resilience born of a love that had defied the passage of time. It was a beautiful, poignant truth, one that resonated deeply within the quiet chambers of her heart. The whispers of yesteryear were not fading echoes, but rather a vibrant chorus, singing the song of a love that would never truly die. And in that song, she found her solace, her strength, and her enduring hope. There was a particular memory, however, that always shone with an almost blinding clarity, a moment that encapsulated the very essence of their bond. It was their silver wedding anniversary. Arthur, usually a man of reserved gestures, had surprised her with a small, intricately carved wooden bird, a tiny wren, her favorite. He had placed it in her palm, his fingers warm against hers, and simply said, "For all the songs you've brought into my life." It wasn't the gift itself, but the quiet depth of his sentiment, the profound understanding it conveyed, that had brought tears to her eyes. In that instant, she felt seen, truly known in a way that few people ever experience. It was a moment where time seemed to fold in on itself, and the universe conspired to affirm the rightness of their connection. This wasn't merely a romantic gesture. It was a spiritual communion, a silent promise exchanged between two souls who had found their home in each other. This memory, like a precious jewel, was one she returned to often, not with sorrow, but with a profound sense of gratitude. It wasn't a yearning for what was lost, but an appreciation for what had been, and what continued to reside within her. The vividness of such recollections, the way they could transport her back to the very emotional landscape of that moment, was a testament to the enduring power of love. It was a love that had shaped her, refined her, and instilled in her a quiet wisdom. She understood that these indelible marks were not just a part of her past, but a vibrant, living component of her present self, a foundation upon which she continued to build her life. They were the silent architects of her inner world, guiding her with an unseen hand, a constant reminder of the richness of her journey. As the afternoon light began to wane, casting longer shadows across the room, Eleanor gently placed the photograph back on the mantelpiece, beside the small wooden wren. The warmth of nostalgia lingered, a comforting embrace. She knew that the quiet ache of absence was an inevitable companion to such profound love, but it was an ache tempered by the enduring beauty of what had been. The past, though gone, remained a vibrant, living part of her, a silent promise that the human heart, even after years, held an extraordinary capacity for connection. This quiet understanding, this profound appreciation for the indelible imprints of love, would be her guide as she moved through the unfolding chapters of her own story. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and its remarkable ability to carry both joy and sorrow, weaving them into a tapestry of enduring beauty. And so, she turned her gaze towards the window, towards the fading light, a quiet readiness stirring within her for whatever the coming days might bring. Think of those quiet evenings when the world outside hushes and the stories held within us begin to whisper, each one a testament to lives lived and loves shared. It is in these hushed moments, when the lingering warmth of memory might suddenly give way to the chill of absence, that the true landscape of loss often reveals itself. For Eleanor, the transition was not abrupt, but a gradual unfolding, like the slow fading of twilight into a starless night. The previous chapter, filled with the tender echoes of Arthur, had been a comforting embrace. Yet comfort, by its very nature, often highlights what is missing. His absence was not a void, but a presence, a quiet companion to her solitude. It manifested in the untouched teacup beside hers each morning, in the sudden silence of a room where laughter once resonated, in the subtle ache of remembering a shared glance across a crowded room. Grief, she had learned, was not a fleeting visitor, but a long-term resident, changing its form but never truly departing. Eleanor often found herself in the kitchen, preparing a meal for one. The rhythmic chop of vegetables, the gentle sizzle in the pan, these were once accompanied by Arthur's humming or his quiet questions about her day. Now, only the soft clinking of cutlery broke the silence. She'd plate her dinner, a modest portion, and sit at the small table, the larger dining table a silent monument to gatherings past. It wasn't that she mourned the act of cooking. It was the absence of the shared experience, the quiet conversation over a glass of wine, the comfortable intimacy of two lives intertwined. Have you ever felt the weight of an empty chair at a table, not just as a physical space, but as a symbolic void? That was Eleanor's daily companion. She remembered the first Christmas after Arthur's passing. The festive lights, usually a source of joy, felt like a cruel mockery. The carols, once sung with gusto, now brought tears to her eyes. She had tried to maintain traditions, decorating the tree, baking his favorite shortbread, but each ornament hung, each sprinkle added, was a poignant reminder of a hand that was no longer there to help, a voice no longer there to comment. Grief, she understood, was not merely sadness. It was the profound disruption of habit, the shattering of shared rituals. It is a testament to the depth of connection that even the most mundane of activities can become saturated with sorrow when a loved one is gone. It's much like a favorite song suddenly losing its melody, leaving only the rhythm of absence. Her friend Margaret, a widow herself, would visit sometimes, bringing a casserole or just a sympathetic ear. Margaret understood. She didn't offer platitudes or urge Eleanor to move on. Instead, she would simply sit, sometimes in silence, sometimes sharing her own gentle memories of loss. Margaret once said, "It's like carrying a beautiful, heavy stone. You learn to carry it, but it never quite leaves your hand." This quiet dignity of shared grief was a comfort. It acknowledged that grief was not a weakness to be overcome, but a natural consequence of profound love. It's a process that, for many, can extend for many years, a testament to the enduring bond. The human mind, in its remarkable capacity, often holds on to these significant emotional connections, even after physical separation. Eleanor also found herself revisiting places that held special meaning for them. The small park bench where they'd often read the Sunday paper, the botanical garden where they'd spent countless afternoons admiring the roses. These pilgrimages were a bittersweet communion. She wasn't seeking to forget, but to remember, to keep Arthur's memory vibrant, not as a ghost, but as an integral part of her own being. It was a conscious effort to honor the past, even as the present nudged her forward. She understood that moving forward didn't mean leaving Arthur behind. It meant carrying him with her in a new way, woven into the fabric of her continued existence. There were days, of course, when the ache was sharper, more insistent. An anniversary, a photograph accidentally unearthed, a scent that caught her unawares. These moments were like sudden gusts of wind, threatening to extinguish the fragile flame of her composure. But even in these depths, there was a quiet strength. It was the strength born of having loved deeply, of having experienced a bond that transcended the ordinary. She had learned that grief, in its rawest form, was simply love with nowhere to go, a testament to the indelible mark Arthur had left on her soul. It's like the persistent echo of a bell, long after it has been struck, resonating through the air. She often wondered about the nature of memory itself. Was it a faithful recording, or a curated collection, polished and softened by time? Psychologists tell us that long-term memory, especially for emotionally significant events, can remain remarkably detailed even as we age. Eleanor found this to be true. The details of Arthur's laugh, the way his hand felt in hers, the specific inflection of his voice. These were not fading. They were simply less immediate, like treasures held in a carefully guarded chest. The effort was not to forget, but to integrate the past into the present, to make peace with the enduring presence of absence. It was a delicate dance between remembrance and living, a testament to the human spirit's capacity for both profound sorrow and quiet resilience. One blustery autumn afternoon, while sorting through an old chest in the attic, Eleanor found a small leather-bound journal. It was Arthur's, filled with his neat, precise handwriting. She'd known he kept journals, but this one, dated from their early years together, she had never seen. As she opened it, a dried rose petal, pressed flat and fragile, fell onto her lap. Its faint, sweet scent, though barely there, instantly transported her back to a specific moment. Their first picnic, a sunny afternoon in a field of wild roses. A wave of overwhelming sadness, sharper and more potent than usual, washed over her. It wasn't just the memory, but the tangible proof of a life shared, now held only in her hands, a life that had simply ceased. The quiet dignity of her grief momentarily crumbled, replaced by a raw, guttural cry that echoed in the silent attic. She sat there for a long time, the journal open, the dried petal resting on the faded ink. The tears came, hot and unrestrained, a release she hadn't allowed herself in months. But as the storm subsided, a different feeling emerged. It was not despair, but a profound connection. Reading his words, seeing the world through his eyes again, she felt his presence not as an absence, but as a continuation. The journal became a bridge, allowing her to walk alongside him once more, if only in spirit. She realized that grief was not a wall separating her from Arthur, but a deep river, flowing from the wellspring of their love. And she, in her quiet dignity, was learning to navigate its currents. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the attic floor, Eleanor closed the journal, placing the rose petal carefully back within its pages. The ache was still there, a familiar companion, but it was softened, enriched by the understanding that love, even in absence, continues to shape and inform. She descended the stairs, the journal held close, a quiet acceptance settling over her. The house, once filled with the echoes of a lost past, now seemed to hold the promise of a future where memory and possibility might intertwine, perhaps in ways she hadn't yet imagined. Like the gentle turning of seasons, love too undergoes transformations, shedding old leaves and nurturing new blooms, often in the most unexpected corners of our lives. Eleanor, in her late 70s, had long believed her season of new blooms was a distant memory, a cherished chapter closed and respectfully placed upon a high shelf. Her days, though filled with the quiet rhythms of memory and the gentle hum of solitude, had settled into a predictable cadence. The ache of Arthur's absence had softened into a familiar companion, a quiet shadow rather than a consuming void. She had cultivated a dignified peace, a life rich in reflection, convinced that the grand narratives of her heart had been fully written. Yet the universe, in its subtle and often surprising ways, had other plans. It began, as so many unexpected turns do, with something utterly mundane. A misdialed number, a voice from a forgotten past. The telephone, usually a conduit for Clara's infrequent but cherished calls, or Margaret's weekly updates on garden club politics, rang with an unfamiliar insistence. Eleanor answered, her voice a soft inquiry. "Hello?" A pause, then a hesitant, slightly raspy baritone on the other end. "Eleanor? Is that really you? It's James. James Atherton." The name, like a pebble dropped into a still pond, sent ripples through decades of calm. James. From university days, a bright, earnest young man with a laugh that could fill a room and an uncanny ability to quote obscure poetry. He had been a friend, a confidant, before life's currents had swept them onto different shores. He explained, with a charming awkwardness, that he had been trying to reach a mutual friend, and in a moment of nostalgic impulse, had looked up her old number, hoping it might still be hers. "It's been, well, a lifetime, hasn't it?" he chuckled. Indeed, it had. That first conversation was a delicate dance between past and present, a tentative exploration of shared history. They spoke of mutual acquaintances, of the paths their lives had taken, careful to skirt the edges of deeper sorrows. James, too, had known loss. His wife, Sarah, had passed several years prior. There was a quiet understanding that blossomed between them, an unspoken recognition of shared journeys through joy and grief. Eleanor found herself smiling more often in the days that followed, a lightness she hadn't realized was missing returning to her step. She caught herself in the hallway mirror one morning, a faint blush on her cheeks, and wondered, with a small private flutter, what this unexpected reconnection might mean. Societal expectations, of course, often cast a long shadow over the idea of romance in later life. There's a prevailing, though often unstated assumption that once a certain age is reached, the heart's grand adventures are concluded. Eleanor had, perhaps unconsciously, internalized some of this. She had seen friends who, after losing a spouse, were met with well-meaning but ultimately limiting advice. "You have your memories," or "It's lovely you have your family." While true, these sentiments often overlooked the profound human need for companionship, for a shared present and a hopeful future. One afternoon, while tending her roses, a memory surfaced. Arthur, teasing her about her meticulous pruning, his hand gently covering hers. The pang of loss was still there, a familiar echo, but it was accompanied by a new thought. Arthur would have wanted her to live fully, to embrace joy wherever it might be found. This wasn't a betrayal of his memory. It was a continuation of the life they had built, a testament to the love that had taught her how to love. This quiet realization was a significant turning point. a subtle shift in her internal landscape, much like the slow, almost imperceptible turning of the earth towards a new season. James, emboldened by their increasingly frequent phone calls, eventually suggested a meeting. Perhaps a cup of tea? Or a walk in the botanical gardens, if your knees are up to it, he'd quipped, with that same self-deprecating humor she remembered. Eleanor hesitated, a swirl of emotions rising within her. The vulnerability of it all felt immense. To open her heart, even just a crack, felt like stepping onto unfamiliar ground after decades of walking a well-worn path. She thought of the stories she'd heard, the quiet struggles of others her age navigating the complexities of new relationships. It wasn't just about finding someone, it was about reimagining herself, shedding the comfortable mantle of widowhood for something less defined, more exposed. But the warmth in James's voice, the genuine curiosity and kindness that shone through, was a compelling counterpoint to her apprehension. She recalled a conversation with Margaret, who, though usually cautious, had once remarked, "Eleanor, life doesn't stop simply because a chapter closes. Sometimes a new book begins when you least expect it." This simple truth resonated deeply. Eleanor found herself agreeing to the botanical gardens, a place of quiet beauty and gentle renewal. The anticipation was a strange blend of excitement and trepidation, like a young girl preparing for her first dance, yet overlaid with the wisdom and weariness of a life fully lived. She chose a dress she hadn't worn in years, a soft azure that complemented her eyes, and spent an unusual amount of time on her hair. It felt both utterly ridiculous and wonderfully liberating. As the day approached, the internal dialogue intensified. Was she truly ready? What would people say? Would it diminish Arthur's memory? But then, she reminded herself, love, in its essence, is not finite. It doesn't subtract from one reservoir to fill another. Instead, it expands, creating new spaces within the heart. Much like a well-tended garden can accommodate new varieties of flowers without diminishing the beauty of the old ones. The courage to embrace the unknown, to step into the tentative bloom of a new beginning, felt like a quiet revolution within her own soul. This was not about replacing what was lost, but about discovering what could still be found. It was about acknowledging that the human heart, even after years, remains capable of profound connection and the courage to embrace the unknown. The morning of their meeting arrived, crisp and clear. Eleanor felt a tremor of nerves, a sensation she hadn't experienced in decades. As she walked through the ornate gates of the botanical gardens, she saw him, James, standing by the rose arbor, just as he'd described. He was older, of course, his hair thinner and silvered, lines etched around his kind eyes, but the warmth of his smile was instantly recognizable. He held a single perfect white rose, a gesture so simple, so elegant, it disarmed her completely. "Eleanor," he said, his voice a soft welcome, extending the rose. "It's truly wonderful to see you." In that moment, surrounded by the vibrant, living beauty of the gardens, the decades melted away, and a quiet, profound sense of possibility bloomed. Their walk through the gardens was unhurried, punctuated by easy conversation and comfortable silences. They spoke of their children, their grandchildren, the books they'd read, the changes they'd witnessed in the world. There was no pressure, no expectation, just the gentle unfolding of two lives rediscovering a shared rhythm. Eleanor found herself laughing, a genuine, unforced sound that echoed among the ancient trees. She realized that this wasn't about erasing the past, but about weaving a new thread into the rich tapestry of her life, a thread that honored all that had come before. It was a reaffirmation that the capacity for joy, for connection, remained vibrant, even in the autumn years. As the afternoon light began to soften, casting long shadows across the manicured lawns, Eleanor felt a quiet sense of peace settle over her. She had taken a step, a brave and vulnerable step, into the unknown, and found not a void, but a gentle, welcoming presence. The botanical gardens, with their endless cycles of growth and renewal, seemed to whisper a promise that even after winter's long slumber, new life always finds a way to unfurl. She would depart this chapter with a sense of hopeful curiosity, recognizing that the human heart, even after years, remains capable of profound connection and the courage to embrace the unknown. Have you ever noticed how the scent of a particular flower can transport you instantly to another time, another place, another embrace? Our memories are often just as potent, just as vivid. Eleanor found herself increasingly drawn to the quiet companionship James offered, a connection that felt as natural and unforced as the changing seasons. Their first proper outing, a simple afternoon spent at the botanical gardens, unfurled like a carefully preserved memory, each moment adding a new layer to their burgeoning understanding. He spoke of his own late wife, Sarah, with a gentle reverence, not dwelling on sorrow, but on the quiet joy she had brought to his life. This openness, this shared acknowledgement of past loves, rather than creating a barrier, became a bridge between them. Consider the subtle art of shared silence, how two people can sit together, content in each other's presence, without the need for constant conversation. It's a hallmark of deep connection, isn't it? Their conversations flowed with an ease that surprised Eleanor, encompassing not only the present, but also the vast landscapes of their pasts. They spoke of childhood dreams, of youthful ambitions, and of the loves that had shaped them. James, with his gentle humor and keen observations, listened to Eleanor's stories of Arthur not with jealousy, but with a profound respect, acknowledging the indelible mark Arthur had left on her heart. This shared vulnerability, the willingness to acknowledge the ghosts of former affections, forged a bond of trust far deeper than mere pleasantries. They found common ground in their shared appreciation for classical music, spending evenings at local concerts, their hands occasionally brushing, sending a subtle current of warmth through Eleanor. Just as a skilled weaver carefully selects threads of different colors and textures to create a rich tapestry, so too were Eleanor and James interweaving the threads of their individual lives, creating something new and beautiful. They discovered a mutual love for long, meandering walks, often venturing into the quiet woods near Eleanor's home. On one such afternoon, James recounted a challenging period in his own life, a time of professional uncertainty and personal doubt, and how Sarah's unwavering belief had seen him through. Eleanor, in turn, shared an anecdote about Arthur's steadfast support during a family crisis, finding solace in the echo of shared experience. These were not just stories. They were fragments of their souls, offered with an implicit trust. Think of the quiet confidence that comes with age, the understanding that not every emotion needs a grand expression. Sometimes, the most profound feelings are conveyed in a glance, a touch, a shared breath. Their dates were simple, unpretentious affairs, quiet dinners at a local bistro, visits to art galleries, or simply sharing a cup of tea on Eleanor's sun-drenched porch. There was a comfort in these routines, a gentle predictability that felt deeply reassuring. They discussed current events, debated the merits of various authors, and often found themselves laughing over trivialities, a sound that Eleanor realized she hadn't truly indulged in for far too long. Have you ever found yourself drawn to someone not for what they say, but for how they listen? That empathetic ear, the space they create for your stories, can be a powerful foundation for connection. Clara, Eleanor's granddaughter, noticed the shift. During one of her visits, she remarked on the fresh flowers in the living room, the subtle new energy in the house. Eleanor, with a shy smile, admitted to seeing a friend. Clara, ever perceptive, simply squeezed her grandmother's hand, a silent acknowledgement of the beautiful, unfolding change. This quiet approval, free from judgment, meant more to Eleanor than any grand pronouncement. Like an old, comfortable armchair, A mature relationship offers a unique kind of solace. It's less about the thrill of the new and more about the profound comfort of the known, the deeply understood. They found themselves sharing not just memories, but also the quiet wisdom gleaned from a lifetime of living. James spoke of the importance of savoring each moment, a lesson hard-won through his own experiences. Eleanor, reflecting on Arthur's sudden passing, echoed this sentiment, emphasizing the fragility and preciousness of time. These were not abstract philosophies, but lived truths, shared between two souls who understood their weight. What does it mean to truly see another person, not just their present self, but the sum of their experiences, their joys, their sorrows, all etched into the lines of their face? It's a form of love, isn't it? One crisp autumn afternoon, as they sat on a bench overlooking a tranquil pond, James reached for Eleanor's hand. His touch was hesitant yet firm, a question and a promise intertwined. "Eleanor," he began, his voice a soft murmur against the rustling leaves, "I find myself remarkably content when I am with you. It's a feeling I hadn't expected to encounter again." Eleanor met his gaze, her own eyes reflecting the quiet depth of his confession. There was no grand declaration, no dramatic flourish, but a profound, unspoken understanding that transcended words. It was a moment of quiet revelation, a recognition that the heart, even after years of dormancy, could still bloom with unexpected tenderness. Consider how a well-tended garden, even after years of growth, can still surprise you with a new bloom. So too can the human heart, even in later life, reveal unexpected beauty and capacity for affection. Their relationship settled into a rhythm of shared moments and comfortable silences, each day weaving new threads into the tapestry of Eleanor's life. Clara, her granddaughter, noticed a lightness in Eleanor's voice during their weekly calls, a renewed sparkle in her eyes when they met. It wasn't a replacement for what was lost, but an expansion, a testament to the heart's infinite capacity for connection. Eleanor found herself smiling more often, a genuine, unburdened smile that reached her eyes. The quiet joys of shared laughter over a crossword puzzle, the comfort of a hand held during a thoughtful silence, the profound understanding that came from two lives, rich with experience, intertwining. These were the hallmarks of their unfolding present. It was a love built not on youthful passion, but on the bedrock of shared wisdom, mutual respect, and a deep, empathetic appreciation for life's intricate journey. Have you ever noticed how the most profound connections often emerge, not from grand gestures, but from the accumulation of small, tender moments? A shared smile, a brief touch, a knowing glance. These are the quiet architects of intimacy. It is often observed that older adults in new relationships often report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction, a testament to the enduring human need for connection. Eleanor and James embodied this truth, finding a quiet strength in their companionship, a gentle resilience that defied the conventional narratives of aging. Think of the resilience of an ancient tree, standing firm against the winds of time, its roots deeply embedded in the earth. So too is the human spirit, capable of enduring loss and still reaching towards the light of new connection. Their love was not a tempestuous storm, but a steady, comforting tide, bringing with it a sense of peace and belonging that Eleanor hadn't realized she was missing. It was a love that understood the fragility of life, and therefore cherished each shared moment with a profound, unspoken gratitude. What is it about shared laughter that feels so uniquely comforting in later life? Perhaps it's the understanding that comes from having navigated life's complexities, finding joy in the simple, everyday moments. The idea that stable, supportive relationships are important throughout the lifespan is widely recognized, and Eleanor and James were living proof of this, their bond a vital anchor in their later years. Just as a river carves its path through stone over centuries, so too does love etch its indelible marks upon our hearts, shaping who we become. And even as new currents flow, the old imprints remain, part of the river's enduring story. Their relationship was a testament to the idea that love does not diminish with age, but rather deepens, becoming interwoven with the tapestry of memory, resilience, and a profound understanding of life's fleeting nature. Have you ever reflected on how the wisdom gained from a lifetime of experiences can enrich a new relationship, lending it a depth and empathy that youthful love often lacks? It's a testament to the beauty of aging, isn't it? And so, Eleanor learned that love, in its mature form, offered a unique blend of comfort, wisdom, and enduring happiness, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It was a quiet affirmation that the story of her heart was still being written, with each new chapter adding depth and beauty to its enduring narrative. Consider how a cherished melody, heard unexpectedly, can unlock a floodgate of forgotten feelings, much like a key turning in a long unused lock. In the twilight years, these melodies of memory, both joyous and sorrowful, often intertwine, creating a richer, more complex symphony. Eleanor found herself increasingly dwelling in this symphony, a beautiful, intricate composition of her life's loves. With James by her side, the echoes of Arthur's memory no longer felt like a solitary lament, but rather a harmonious counterpoint in a larger, evolving melody. This wasn't about replacing one love with another, but about understanding that the heart, much like a grand old house, could hold many cherished rooms, each with its own warmth and light. She began to see that love, in its true essence, doesn't diminish with time or loss. It simply transforms, deepening its roots, reaching new branches, and offering different kinds of solace. Their days together unfolded with a quiet grace, each moment a testament to the profound understanding that can only be forged through a lifetime of experience. James, with his gentle humor and keen observations, became a mirror reflecting the Eleanor she had grown into, the woman shaped by both joy and sorrow. They would often sit on the porch, watching the changing light, sharing anecdotes from their youth. Eleanor found herself recounting stories of Arthur, his quirky habits, his unwavering loyalty, the way his laughter could fill a room. James listened with an attentiveness that was both respectful and deeply empathetic. He never seemed threatened by these memories, but rather understood them as integral threads in the tapestry of Eleanor's being. He too spoke of his own past, of loves and losses that had carved their own indelible marks upon his soul. It was in these shared vulnerabilities, these quiet acknowledgments of lives lived before, that their connection deepened, becoming something far richer than mere companionship. It was a love built on the bedrock of shared wisdom, a mutual appreciation for the resilience of the human spirit. They understood that the past wasn't a rival to the present, but rather its foundation, providing depth and color to their unfolding story. This integration of past and present was not an easy feat, requiring a delicate balance of remembrance and forward momentum. Eleanor often thought of how grief, while a profound sorrow, is also a testament to the depth of love once shared. It meant that Arthur had truly lived and had truly loved her. And now James was helping her understand that this capacity for deep love was not exhausted, but rather matured, ready to embrace new forms. Clara, Eleanor's granddaughter, noticed the change in her grandmother. On her next visit, she found Eleanor not just content, but radiant, a quiet joy emanating from her. Clara saw the way James looked at Eleanor, a look of profound affection and admiration, and a silent understanding passed between the generations. It was a recognition that love, in its myriad forms, continues to bloom, even when the seasons of life have turned to autumn. One afternoon, while sorting through old photographs, Eleanor came across a faded snapshot of Arthur and herself on their honeymoon. She paused, a gentle smile gracing her lips, and then, without hesitation, placed it on the mantelpiece, right beside a more recent photo of herself and James. laughing by the sea. There was no conflict, no sense of disloyalty, just a quiet acceptance that all these moments, all these loves, belonged to her story, each one a precious jewel in the crown of her life. This wasn't about erasing the past, but about allowing it to enrich the present, like a river carrying the sediments of its journey to nourish new lands. The true climax wasn't a singular dramatic event, but a profound internal shift within Eleanor, a moment of serene realization. It happened one evening as she sat with James, the soft glow of the lamp illuminating their faces. They were listening to a classical piece, one Arthur had adored. For a fleeting moment, the melody seemed to conjure Arthur's presence, a familiar comfort. But then, as James gently took her hand, his touch warm and real, Eleanor felt a wave of profound peace. It wasn't a choice between them, but an understanding that her heart had expanded, not divided. She could hold the cherished memory of Arthur, his love and enduring warmth, and simultaneously embrace the vibrant, present love of James. It was a revelation that love wasn't a finite resource, but an ever-flowing spring, capable of nurturing multiple connections across time. She realized that to truly live, to truly honor all the loves of her life, she had to accept this beautiful, complex truth. This acceptance brought with it a profound sense of peace. Eleanor no longer felt the subtle ache of absence as a void, but as a space filled with the echoes of cherished memories, now harmonized with the vibrant presence of new affection. She understood that life's cycles, with their inevitable losses and unexpected joys, were not meant to be resisted, but embraced. Love, she realized, was not a singular event, but an enduring tapestry woven with countless threads, threads of youthful passion, of steadfast companionship, of quiet grief, and of rekindled hope. Each thread, in its own color and texture, contributed to the richness and strength of the whole. Her life, once marked by the profound sorrow of loss, was now a testament to the resilience of the human heart, its boundless capacity for connection, and its quiet dignity in the face of life's inevitable changes. She found solace in the understanding that the love she had shared with Arthur was not gone, but integrated into the very fabric of who she was, allowing her to love James with a depth and wisdom she might not have possessed otherwise. This was the enduring power of love, not just to survive, but to transform, to grow, and to continually offer meaning and connection, even in the autumn of life. And so, as the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Eleanor and James continued their quiet journey together. Their story became a gentle affirmation that the heart, even after years of joy and sorrow, remains capable of profound connection. It was a testament to the idea that love, in its myriad forms, is the enduring thread that weaves through the tapestry of our lives, offering solace and meaning until the very end. A melody that plays on, long after the last note is struck. You will conclude this journey with a profound sense of peace and understanding, recognizing that love, in its myriad forms, is the enduring thread that weaves through the tapestry of our lives, offering solace and meaning until the very end.